In the boundless expanse of our oceans, where the horizon meets the unknown, stories of ghost ships have haunted sailors and storytellers alike. These eerie vessels, shrouded in fog and manned by lost souls or left eerily deserted, drift aimlessly through the waters, defying explanation. What dark forces compel these phantom ships to navigate the seas? Are they cursed relics of a tragic past, or the unexplained anomalies of the treacherous deep? Dive with us into this haunting mystery of ghost ships, where the line between reality and legend vanishes, and the truth is more unsettling than the tales themselves. In this voyage, we will explore the most famous ghost ship legends, from the icy Arctic to the haunted waters of the English Channel, the stormy seas of the Cape of Good Hope. Each ship has its own story to tell, a tale of tragedy, mystery, and the unexplainable. But together, these stories weave a narrative that speaks to the deepest fears and fascinations of the human soul. Let's begin our journey with one of the most famous ghost ships of all, the Mary Celeste. In the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, where the line between life and death blurs with the ebb and flow of the waves, there drifts a vessel steeped in mystery. Her sails hang in tatters, her deck lies eerily empty, and her crew, well, vanished without a trace. This is the haunting tale of the Mary Celeste, a maritime enigma that has baffled and terrified for over a century, leaving only questions in its wake. November 7th, 1872. The Mary Celeste, a ship of sound construction and proven seaworthiness, prepares to embark on what should be a routine voyage. She is bound for Genoa, Italy, carrying a cargo of denatured alcohol, highly flammable and dangerous, but common for the era. At the helm is Captain Benjamin Briggs, a seasoned mariner with a reputation for prudence and integrity. Captain Briggs, a man deeply rooted in his faith, had made the unusual decision to bring his family along on this voyage, a choice that filled his crew with a quiet unease. But with favorable winds and clear skies, the Mary Celeste set sail, her sails billowing as she glides smoothly out of the harbor. The voyage begins without incident, but beneath the calm surface of the Atlantic, forces are at work that will soon turn this journey into a nightmare. December 4th, 1872. Nearly a month after the Mary Celeste left New York, the British brig Waratah navigates the open waters of the Atlantic. Her crew spots something strange on the horizon, a ship adrift in the distance, its sails flapping listlessly in the wind. As they draw closer, a chilling realization dawns. It's the Mary Celeste, but something is terribly wrong. The Mary Celeste is completely deserted. The captain's quarters are empty, and the ship's logbook ends abruptly on November 25th, 1872, 9 days before the discovery. The lifeboat is gone, and yet there are no signs of a struggle, no damage to the ship, and no distress signal sent. The crew's personal belongings remain undisturbed, and a meal sits, half-eaten, as if it was abandoned in haste. But where could they have gone, and why? Some suggest that a sudden storm, or a powerful waterspout, might have forced the crew to abandon the ship, seeking refuge in a lifeboat, only to be lost at sea. Others speculate that the fear of an explosion from the volatile cargo led Captain Briggs to order an evacuation. But with the ship found in near-perfect condition, these explanations seem unlikely. Then there are the darker theories: mutiny, piracy, or even murder. Could the crew have fallen victim to something far more sinister than the forces of nature? Some have even suggested that the crew of the Waratah themselves may have been involved, staging the scene to claim the salvage rights. But without evidence, these remain just theories, fragments of a puzzle that may never be solved. To this day, the fate of the Mary Celeste remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the sea. Her stories have inspired countless books, movies, and legends, each trying to answer the question that has haunted sailors and historians for generations. What really happened to the Mary Celeste? Was it a simple accident? A tragic misjudgment? Or was there something more, something beyond our understanding, lurking in the depths of the Atlantic? As we leave the ghostly Mary Celeste adrift in the Atlantic, our journey takes us to the shadowy depths of the world's oceans. Here, in the treacherous waters of the Straits of Malacca, another ghost ship set sail, the SS Ourang Medan, a tale of both terror and unexplained death. There are stories that chill the soul and defy explanation. One such tale is that of the SS Ourang Medan, a ghost ship that sailed into the annals of maritime history, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. It was the late 1940s, somewhere in the treacherous waters of the Straits of Malacca. Ships navigating these busy shipping lanes suddenly received a distress signal, a message so terrifying it sent shivers down the spines of seasoned sailors. A distorted voice came over the radio. All officers, including the captain, are dead, lying in the chart room and the bridge, possibly the whole crew dead. Then a pause, and one final message came over the radio. Just 2 words. I die. The message ended with those final chilling words. But what could have caused such horror aboard the SS Ourang Medan? A nearby ship, the Silver Star, picked up the distress call and set course to investigate. As they approached, they saw the Ourang Medan drifting silently on the water, her crew nowhere to be seen. The captain of the Silver Star ordered his men to board the ship and begin an investigation. But what they found aboard the Ourang Medan would haunt them forever. Everywhere they looked, the crew of the Silver Star found death. Men sprawled across the decks, their eyes wide open, mouths agape as if they were caught in a silent scream. There were no signs of struggle, no wounds, no explanation for the sheer horror etched on their faces. Even the ship's dog was found lifeless, its body rigid, a look of fear in its eyes. As the rescuers tried to make sense of the scene, an unsettling feeling crept over them. Something was terribly wrong. They decided to abandon the ship, and as they did, a fire suddenly broke out in the bowels of the Ourang Medan. Moments later, the Ourang Medan exploded with terrifying force, shattering the silence and sending the ship to the bottom of the ocean, along with any answers it might have held. What could have caused such a tragedy? Over the years, many theories have surfaced, each more chilling than the last. Some believe the ship was carrying a highly dangerous cargo, perhaps chemical weapons left over from the war, that accidentally leaked, poisoning the crew and causing their horrific deaths. Others suggest that the crew might have been exposed to toxic gases, or an unknown biological agent. And then, there are those who whisper of something more sinister, supernatural forces, or perhaps extraterrestrial intervention. But the truth remains elusive. Buried deep beneath the waves with the Ourang Medan, to this day, no official records of the ship have ever been found, leading some to question whether the Ourang Medan ever existed at all. Yet the tale persists, a haunting reminder of the dangers and mysteries that lurk in the deep. The story of the SS Ourang Medan has become one of the most enduring legends of the sea, a ghost ship that appeared, brought terror, and vanished, leaving nothing but fear and speculation in its wake. From the deadly silence of the Ourang Medan, we now venture to the deep, uncharted waters of the Southern Ocean. Here, another ship met her mysterious fate, vanishing without a trace and earning the title of the Titanic of the Southern Hemisphere. This is the story of the SS Waratah. In the deep, uncharted waters of the Southern Ocean, there are tales of ships that set sail and never return. One such tale is that of the SS Waratah, a grand vessel that vanished without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that has haunted the seas for over a century. Launched in 1908, the SS Waratah was a marvel of modern engineering, a 9,000-ton luxury liner built to ferry passengers in style between Europe and Australia. She was hailed as the ship of the future, a floating palace designed to conquer the high seas. But beneath her polished exterior lay the seeds of a tragic mystery, one that would soon unfold in the unforgiving waters off the coast of South Africa. On April 27, 1909, the Waratah set sail from London on her second voyage to Australia. She was laden with cargo, crew, and over 200 passengers, all eager to reach the distant shores of the Southern Hemisphere. After a brief stop in Durban, the Waratah departed for Cape Town on July 26th. But as she ventured further into the treacherous waters of the South Atlantic, something went terribly wrong. The Waratah was due to arrive in Cape Town on July 29th, but she never reached her destination. No distress signals were sent. No wreckage was found. Just a silence as deep and impenetrable as the ocean itself. Despite extensive search efforts, including ships and planes scouring the sea, not a single trace of the Waratah was ever discovered. She simply vanished. In the aftermath of the Waratah's disappearance, strange and unsettling reports began to emerge. Crew members aboard other ships claimed to have seen distress flares or ghostly lights in the area where the Waratah was last seen. Many theories have been proposed to explain the Waratah's fate. Some believe she was top-heavy, her design making her vulnerable to capsizing in rough seas. Others suggest that she might have encountered a rogue wave, a phenomenon known to strike with devastating force. But there are those who believe that the Waratah met with a more sinister end, perhaps an onboard explosion, or an encounter with something beyond the realm of the natural. Yet without any evidence, these remain just theories, fragments of a story lost to the depths. The SS Waratah has become a legend of the sea, a ghost ship whose fate still remains a mystery. Even after more than a century, her disappearance serves as a stark reminder of the ocean's unforgiving nature and all of the secrets it still holds. Some mysteries may never be solved. The SS Waratah remains lost to the Southern Ocean, but our journey is far from over. Next, we sail to the graveyard of the Atlantic, where another ghost ship met her mysterious end. The Carroll A Deering, a schooner found eerily abandoned with no sign of her crew. The sea is a vast, untamed wilderness, its depths hiding secrets and stories that defy explanation. Among the most chilling of these tales is that of the Carroll A Deering, a grand schooner found eerily abandoned off the coast of North Carolina, with no trace of her crew. This is the story of the ghost ship that sailed into the unknown and never returned. Built in 1919, the Carroll A Deering was a modern marvel of her time. A 5-masted schooner, designed for long voyages and heavy cargo. Named after the son of her owner, the ship was destined to be a giant of the seas, carrying goods across the Atlantic with speed and style. In the summer of 1920, the Carroll A Deering embarked on what would be her final voyage, a journey that would end in one of the greatest maritime mysteries of the 20th century. In August 1920, the Carroll A Deering set sail from Norfolk, Virginia, bound for Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with a cargo of coal. Under the command of Captain William H. Merritt, the ship and her crew of 10 men made their way south, reaching Brazil without incident. But the return journey would not be so uneventful. Captain Merritt fell ill and was replaced by Captain Willis B. Wormwell, an experienced seaman who would soon find himself at the helm of a ship destined for disaster. On January 29, 1921, the Carroll A Deering was sighted by the Cape Lookout Lighthouse off the coast of North Carolina. The lightship's keeper reported that the man aboard the Deering shouted that the ship had lost its anchors, but something was amiss. None of the officers were visible, and the crew appeared to be acting suspiciously. This brief, cryptic encounter would be the last time anyone saw the crew of the Carroll A Deering alive. 2 days later, the Carroll A Deering was discovered run aground on Diamond Shoals, a treacherous area known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic. But when rescuers boarded the ship, they found her eerily abandoned. The crew was gone, and the ship was silent. What could have driven the crew to abandon the ship so suddenly? Why had they taken the lifeboats, but left behind their personal effects? And where were they now? The mystery of the Carroll A Deering has perplexed investigators and maritime historians for decades. Was the ship the victim of piracy, her crew forced overboard by ruthless criminals? Or did the men mutiny, turning on their captain in a moment of madness? Others suggest a more natural explanation, that the Deering encountered a sudden and violent storm, forcing the crew to abandon the ship in a desperate bid for survival. But if so, why was there no sign of the lifeboats? And why was the ship found so intact? And then there are the more fantastical theories, whispers of paranormal activity, alien abductions, or even the Bermuda Triangle, stretching its malevolent influence far beyond its usual boundaries. Yet no evidence has ever surfaced to support these claims. The U.S. government launched an extensive investigation into the disappearance, involving multiple agencies, including the FBI. Despite the efforts of some of the best minds of the time, no definitive answers were found. The case was closed, leaving only speculation and unanswered questions. Today, the Carroll A Deering stands as one of the most enduring ghost ship mysteries of all time, a symbol of the sea's powers to keep its darkest secrets hidden beneath the waves. Some mysteries are destined to remain unsolved. The Carroll A Deering was lost in the fog, but in the frozen reaches of the Arctic, another ship defied the elements, becoming a ghost ship that roamed the ice-covered seas for decades. This is the legend of the SS Baychimo, the ship that refused to die. In the frozen, desolate reaches of the Arctic, there are tales of ships that defy time and reason. One such story is that of the SS Baychimo, a ship left for dead in the unforgiving ice, only to rise again as a ghostly wanderer of the seas. This is the legend of the Baychimo, the ghost ship of the Arctic. Built in 1914 in Sweden, the SS Baychimo was a workhorse of the northern seas, a steel-hulled cargo steamer tasked with braving the icy waters of the Arctic. For years, she served the Hudson Bay companies, trading goods with the isolated Inuit settlements of the Canadian North. But the Baychimo's fate was sealed on October 1931, during what seemed like just another routine voyage. The ship was caught in the unforgiving grip of the Arctic pack ice, and her journey would soon take a dark and unexpected turn. October 1st, 1931. The Baychimo was on her way back from a trading expedition when she became trapped in pack ice off the coast of Alaska. For days, The crew fought against the encroaching ice, but their efforts were in vain. As the temperatures plummeted and the ice thickened, they had no choice but to abandon ship, setting up camp on the ice, waiting for the chance to escape. After several days, the ice temporarily released its grip, and the Baychimo was free, only to become trapped again, but this time for good. The Hudson's Bay Company deemed the ship unsalvageable, made the difficult decision to abandon her in the Arctic wilderness. But the Baychimo was not destined to sink in the depths of the Arctic. Instead, she became something far more mysterious, a ghost ship, doomed to wander the frozen seas without a crew. Over the following decades, the Baychimo was spotted numerous times, drifting aimlessly through the Arctic waters. Some managed to board her, only to find her eerily empty, while others were driven away by the harsh weather or treacherous ice. The ship became a phantom of the North, a spectral reminder of the Arctic's unforgiving nature. The last confirmed sighting of the Baychimo came in 1969, nearly 40 years after she was abandoned. She was seen drifting peacefully in the Beaufort Sea, still intact, still defying the elements. After that, the Baychimo vanished for good, leaving only stories and legends in her wake. What became of the Baychimo? Did she finally succumb to the ice, sinking to the bottom of the Arctic? Or is she still out there, wandering the frozen seas, waiting to be discovered by some intrepid explorer? The fate of the Baychimo remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of the sea. The story of the SS Baychimo is a testament to the power and mystery of the Arctic. She has become a legend, a ghost ship that haunts the icy waters, a symbol of nature's resilience and the human spirit's enduring fascination with the unknown. Perhaps one day, the Baychimo will be found again, revealing the secret she's kept hidden for so long. Until then, she remains a ghost ship of the Arctic, a ship that refused to die. From the ghostly wanderings of the Baychimo, we turn to another Arctic tale, one of a ship frozen in time for over a decade. This is the story of the Octavius, a ghost ship that drifted through the ice, her crew frozen in their final moments. In 1761, the Octavius set sail from England, bound for the distant shores of the Orient. She was a proud vessel, with a seasoned crew and a captain eager to complete a lucrative trade voyage. The ship reached her destination safely, and her hold was soon filled with the treasures of the East. But it was on the return journey that the Octavius's fate took a dark and deadly turn. The captain, seeking a faster route home, made a fateful decision. He would attempt to navigate the Northwest Passage, a treacherous and largely uncharted route through the Arctic. The Octavius sailed into the Arctic where the seas turned to ice, and the weather grew deadly. As the days turned into weeks, the ship became hopelessly trapped in the pack ice, miles from any chance of rescue. With the ship locked in the ice and the temperatures plummeting, the crew had little hope of survival. One by one, they succumbed to the cold, until only silence remained aboard the Octavius. The last entry in the ship's log was dated 1762, marking the beginning of a 13-year drift through the frozen North. 13 years later, in 1775, the whaling ship Herald was making its way through the icy waters off the coast of Greenland when the crew spotted something strange. A ship, drifting silently through the fog, her sails tattered and her deck coated in ice. As they boarded the derelict vessel, they were met with a sight that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. The entire crew of the Octavius was found frozen in place, preserved by the Arctic cold. The captain was still seated at his desk, pen in hand, as if frozen in time, recording his final log entry. The logbook revealed the tragic fate of the Octavius. Trapped in the ice in 1762, the ship had been drifting, unmanned, for over a decade, a ghost ship on an endless voyage through the frozen wasteland. Shaken by their discovery, the crew of the Herald left the Octavius to her fate. Taking the logbook as the only record of what they had seen, the ghost ship drifted back into the Arctic mists, never to be seen again. The Octavius vanished into the ice, becoming one of the most enduring legends of the sea. Her tale is a chilling reminder of the dangers of the Arctic and the mysteries that lie hidden in its frozen depths. The story of the Octavius has passed into legend, a ghost ship frozen in time, lost in the vast, unforgiving Arctic. Her fate remains a mystery, a warning to those who dare to challenge the frozen north. Perhaps the Octavius still drifts somewhere out there, a ghostly reminder of a time long past. But for now, she remains just a story, a haunting tale of a ship and her crew frozen in time. Some stories are too chilling to forget. The Octavius vanished into the ice, but in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, another ship met her mysterious fate. The MV Joyita, found drifting without her crew, a ghost ship lost at sea. In the endless expanse of the Pacific Ocean, where the sea holds its secrets tightly, there is a story of a ship found adrift, abandoned by its crew and passengers, their fate unknown. This is the mystery of the MV Joyita, a ghost ship that still haunts the waters of the South Pacific. Built in 1931 as a luxury yacht, the MV Joyita was a ship of many lives. She served as a patrol boat during World War II, before being converted into a merchant vessel, plying the waters of the South Pacific. By 1955, the Joyita was a familiar sight in the islands, ferrying cargo and passengers between remote communities. On October 3, 1955, the Joyita set out on what would have been a routine voyage from Apia to the Tokelau Islands. On board were 25 souls, 16 crew members, and 9 passengers, including a doctor, a government official, and several women and children. But the Joyita would never reach her destination. When the Joyita failed to arrive in Tokelau as scheduled, a search and rescue mission was launched. For 5 weeks, planes and ships scoured the seas. There was no sign of the Joyita. No distress call, no debris, nothing. It was as if the ship and her passengers had vanished into thin air. Then, on November 10, 1955, a merchant vessel spotted something strange. A ship listing heavily to one side, drifting aimlessly in the water. It was the Joyita. 600 miles off course and abandoned. When rescuers boarded the Joyita, they found her in a state of eerie stillness. The ship's radio was turned to the international distress frequency, but the wiring was damaged, rendering it useless. The lifeboats and dinghy were missing, and the cargo, medical supplies, timber, and empty oil drums remained largely untouched. But the most disturbing discovery was what wasn't there. Any sign of the crew or passengers. The ship was completely deserted, and there were no clues to explain why they had abandoned the Joyita. What had driven them to leave the relative safety of the ship and disappear into the vast ocean? The mystery of the MV Joyita has sparked countless theories over the years. Some believe the ship suffered a catastrophic failure, perhaps a leak or engine trouble, that led the crew to abandon the ship in a panic. But the Joyita was known to be unsinkable, with cork-lined compartments that made her incredibly buoyant. Others suggest darker possibilities. Could the Joyita have been attacked by pirates? Or did the crew fall victim to a violent mutiny? Or even an insurance fraud scheme gone wrong. There are even those who propose more outlandish explanations, whispers of supernatural forces, alien abductions, or a Bermuda Triangle-like phenomenon pulling the ship off course. Despite extensive investigations, the fate of the Joyita's crew and passengers remain one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the sea. The ship was repaired and returned to service, but her story was far from over. Eventually, the Joyita was lost again, disappearing from history, leaving only questions in her wake. The MV Joyita stands as a chilling reminder of the dangers and uncertainties of life at sea. A ghost ship whose story may never be fully understood. She drifts through maritime history, a symbol of the unknown, and a testament to the enduring mysteries of the deep. The MV Joyita remains an unsolved mystery of the Pacific, but in the haunted waters of the English Channel, another ghost ship sails every 50 years. A tale of love, jealousy, and tragedy that is the story of the Lady Lovibond. In the shadowy depths of the English Channel, where treacherous sands lie in wait, there is a legend. Every 50 years, the ghostly Lady Lovibond is said to set sail, haunting the waters where she met her doom. This is the story of the Lady Lovibond, a ship cursed to drift between the living and the dead. February 13th, 1748. The Lady Lovibond, a stately schooner, prepares to set sail from London, bound for Portugal. But this is no ordinary voyage. Captain Simon Reed is not only leading his crew across the English Channel, he is also celebrating his recent marriage to the beautiful Annetta. Against the old seafaring superstition, Captain Reed brings his new bride aboard the Lady Lovibond, determined to spend their honeymoon together at sea. But what should have been a romantic journey quickly devolves into a voyage of darkness. Not everyone aboard the Lady Lovibond was celebrating. The ship's first mate, John Rivers, had long harbored secret feelings for Annetta, and as he watched her with the captain, feelings of jealousy turned to rage. A dangerous fire was kindling in his heart. As the Lady Lovibond sails into the night, Rivers' jealousy festers until it consumes him completely. In his madness, he hatches a deadly plan, one that will seal the fate of everyone aboard. On that faithful and stormy night, with the crew preoccupied, Rivers made his move. He took control of the helm and, in a fit of madness, steered the Lady Lovibond directly towards the treacherous Goodwin Sands, a deadly sandbank known as the Ship Swallower. The Lady Lovibond strikes the sand with a terrible force. In moments, the ship is shattered, and all aboard perish in the icy waters. Captain Reed, Annetta, and the crew were lost to the sea, their dreams drowned in the cold, dark depths. But the story of the Lady Lovibond doesn't end with her sinking. According to legend, every 50 years, on the anniversary of the wreck, the ghostly schooner reappears, sailing the waters near the Goodwin Sands. Witnesses speak of the ship bathed in an otherworldly glow, her sails full, her decks silent. In 1798, 1848, 1898, and 1948, sailors and fishermen reported seeing the Lady Lovibond, her ghostly form drifting through the mist, forever reliving her doomed voyage. But as quickly as she appears, the ship vanishes, leaving only the memory of the tragic love she left behind. The Lady Lovibond has become one of the most enduring ghost ship legends of the English coast, a tale of love and jealousy that ended in tragedy. Her story continues to haunt those who hear it, a reminder of the dangers of the sea and the darker sides of the human heart. Perhaps 50 years from now, the Lady Lovibond will be seen again, sailing silently through the night, a ghostly echo of a love lost to the waves. Until then, she remains a legend, her story carried on by the wind and the whispers of the sea. The Lady Lovibond is a tale of love lost to the waves, but in the stormy seas off the Cape of Good Hope, another ghost ship sets sail. Cursed to never find safe harbor, this is the story of the Flying Dutchman, the most famous ghost ship of all. In the depths of the world's oceans, where the winds howl and the waves crash with fury, there is a legend, an omen of doom, a ship cursed to sail the seas for eternity. This is the story of the Flying Dutchman, the ghost ship that has haunted sailors' dreams for centuries, a vessel condemned to never find safe harbor. The legend of the Flying Dutchman begins in the 17th century, during the height of the Dutch East India Company's dominance over the seas. This was a time when brave men sailed vast, uncharted oceans, seeking fortune and glory, but the seas were unforgiving, and many ships met their end in the treacherous waters of the Cape of Good Hope. One such ship was commanded by Captain Hendrik van der Decken, a man of iron will and unshakable resolve. But as his ship approached the Cape of Good Hope, the seas turned against him. The crew begged him to turn back, to wait out the storm, but Captain van der Decken, whether out of pride, defiance, or madness, refused. He swore an oath that would seal his fate and the fate of his ship forever. In a moment of rage, the captain cursed the heavens, vowing to round the cape even if it meant sailing until Judgment Day. As the words left his lips, a sudden silence fell over the ship. The wind died, the waves calmed, and an eerie stillness descended. But it was not the calm of safety, it was the calm of doom. The captain's defiance had not gone unnoticed. Whether by the hand of God, the devil, or some other supernatural force, the ship was cursed. From that moment on, the Flying Dutchman was doomed to sail the ocean forever. Never able to make port, its crew condemned to an eternal voyage of torment. Over the centuries, sailors have reported seeing the Flying Dutchman on countless occasions, always appearing as a ghostly vision on the horizon, her sails glowing eerily in the dark. To see the Flying Dutchman is considered a terrible omen, a harbinger of doom and disaster. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1881, when King George V, then a young prince, and his crew aboard the HMS Baychimo claimed to have seen the ghost ship off the coast of Australia. The lookout who first spotted the ship fell to his death shortly after, a tragic fulfillment of the legend's curse. The story of the Flying Dutchman has transcended the seas to become a powerful symbol in Western culture. It has inspired countless works of art, literature, and music, most famously in Richard Wagner's opera, Der Fliegende Holländer, where the doomed captain is portrayed as a tragic figure seeking redemption through love. Even in modern times, the Flying Dutchman continues to captivate audiences, appearing in films, television, and popular culture as the ultimate ghost ship, a vessel of doom, forever searching for a harbor that will never come. The Flying Dutchman is more than just a ghost story. It is a tale of human hubris, of defiance against the elements, and of the eternal consequences of challenging forces beyond our understanding. Whether the ship truly sails the seas, or is simply a creation of fearful imaginations, her story endures, a chilling reminder of the mysteries that still lie hidden in the deep. Perhaps somewhere out there on the horizon, the Flying Dutchman still sails, forever lost, forever cursed, and perhaps, if you're unlucky enough, you might see her too. From the eerie silence of the Mary Celeste to the icy grip of the Arctic on the SS Baychimo, the tragic fate of the SS Waratah, and the cursed voyage of the Flying Dutchman. Each of these ghost ships carries with it a story that has captured the imagination and stirred the souls of sailors, historians, and storytellers alike. These tales, whether born of truth or legend, remind us of the vastness of the oceans and the mysteries that still lie within their depths. Ghost ships serve as a powerful symbol of human ambition, tragedy, and the unknown. They are reminders of our fascination with the sea, a force of nature that has both been a giver of life and a taker of it. Whether these stories are the result of real events, sailor superstition, or simply the need to explain the unexplainable, they have become an indelible part of maritime lore. The sea, vast and unforgiving, holds countless secrets. Some we may one day uncover, others destined to remain forever hidden beneath the waves. As long as ships sail the oceans, as long as there are those who venture into the unknown, the legends of ghost ships will continue to haunt us, filling our minds with wonder, fear, and deep respect for the forces that we can never fully understand. The sea never forgets. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the enigmatic world of ghost ships. If these tales have intrigued you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories of the sea and its many mysteries. Until we meet again, keep your eyes on the horizon and remember, the ocean's secrets are far from being fully told. And we'll see you next time on the next chilling tale of the narrator of the unknown.